Do you want to transform lives? Do you want to take patient care to the next level? Well, on today's podcast, we're going to talk about innovative technology, exceptional eyewear, and we're going to talk to the one that has done it the best, and that's Dr. Jennifer Stewart. If you're ready to kick off, let's make this magic happen. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover. Let's go. This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover. Super excited today because we have a rock star OD, an OD that has really changed the game in all aspects of optometry, from private practice to sports vision, just being a KOL, but most importantly, just elevating the eye care industry. Super excited today to have my friend, my colleague, Dr. Jennifer Stewart on the call. We've been trying to cook this up for a long time, my friends, but super excited to share her story and all the amazing things she has done to elevate our profession. Jennifer, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. Welcome. It is bright and early this morning. This seems to be the only time that works for us, so I love it. I love doing this in the morning rather than late at night when we're all tired. I think this is the first time I've ever recorded first thing, so I've had a couple cups of coffee and I'm ready to go.
Well, I love it. I'm a morning person. I'm up every morning at 5 a.m. driving my family crazy, right? My wife is like, stop touching me, move, leave me alone. My son, he's now starting to become like me. So he gets up, he comes into the bedroom, he jumps on my wife, gives her a big hug and kiss, and she's like, get off me, get off me, get off me. I don't know how a morning person married someone that likes to sleep in, because it doesn't always go too well in the mornings.
No. I'm a morning person too. I'm up at 5 a.m., get my workout done every day, and I'm here. So we could have recorded this at 5.
Right. I would have been game for that for sure. So let's get this party started, because I really want to have a great conversation today. I really want to build the conversation around, creating a private practice, cold start private practice. You opened up a practice about a year ago, and we're now in a whole new place, right? But before we get started with this conversation, it's very important for all my colleagues out there that may not know who you are as a rock star, get to know you a little bit better. So if you don't mind just sharing, how did you get into eye care, and kind of paint us that picture of that journey that you got through to be where you're at today?
So it's a great question. I always say I'm not the person that always dreamed about being an eye doctor. I never thought that's where I'd end up. I actually wanted to be a large animal vet. So fun fact, I had horses growing up. I competed in barrel racing, pole bending, team penning. So I always thought I would be an equine vet. And that's what I thought all through high school and most of college, until I started working with a vet and realized that's not the lifestyle I actually wanted. But once I decided that, I was a junior in college and kind of was like, oh gosh, my whole life, I've thought I know what I wanted to do. And now I have to kind of rethink that. So I shadowed a bunch of health professionals and tried a bunch of things, and actually ran into my own eye doctor, who was my next door neighbor. I guess it was like winter break my senior year, and said, I have no idea what he said. What are you doing after college? I'm like, I literally don't know. And he said, why don't you come shadow me? And I went, oh gosh, like optometry is so boring. You just sit in a dark room. It's so weird, but sure. And I spent a couple of days with him, and it completely changed what I thought about optometry. And I realized he had such a great practice that he knew his patients for decades and spent more time talking to them about their families and their lives. And so I sat there and went, okay, this is not at all what I thought. So that began my journey into optometry. And I'm so thankful that it happened that way. It was, I hear all these people say, I knew I wanted to be an eye doctor for my first pair of glasses on. That was definitely not me, but it's been an incredible career. And it's been everything I could have ever expected and more. But I'm so thankful that chance conversation in 2001 turned into where we are in 2024.
I love that. It's all about exposure, right? And as optometrists, we have to become our biggest ambassadors. we can't let people just find this profession by chance. We have to speak up. We have that exam lane where we really have the power to touch many lives day in and day out, right? So we got to do a better job about this profession because, as you know, we need more optometrists. And I think the best place to have those conversations are in the exam lane to create more awareness about all the amazing things that we do. The part that I really loved is the part about the families, right? The doctor being able to connect with the families. I love my family, but now I have an extended family. Every patient that walks through my door is my family. And I love watching these kids grow over time and the adults get married or, you know, all these major milestones that take place in their lives because I'm now a part of it. And I don't know about you, Jennifer, but that's an amazing experience and feeling.
I feel so lucky and you know, we'll talk about my cold start, but now seeing people who I've seen for years now seek me out at my new practice is that's a really special feeling that people have been looking for me or are willing to follow me. And I always say that is every time I have a patient find me and say, well, of course I'd come to you. I love you. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know,
right?
feels so good. So what we do really matters and what we do is important. So I always try and remember that, you know, it's 8:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. Feeling that way, no matter what the day throws at us. That's what I always try and come back to.
I love it. I love it. You know, for me, I have pictures of my family in my exam lane. And if I have a difficult patient, I just look over at those pictures and it gives me the motivation to get through the day. But then also I just start thinking about my team members in the office, you know, just the family, right? Again, whether it's my family or my extended family, that's what gets me through all these difficult days because, you know, not every day is easy. Not every day is great. There are some days that suck, right? And I think as optometrists, we got to paint the great picture, but we also got to paint that, you know, it's tough times. For all the students that are out there, they're always asking me about my schedule and how things work, but they just don't see me in the exam lane, seeing patients day in and day out and solving problems, or see me in a month of December in the trenches, seeing all the patients that want to come in before their benefits are up, right? So I feel like we got to paint the holistic picture, but we also got to educate about how great this profession is because we do truly touch lives. Now, Jennifer, I want to take a step back and I want to get, you know, prior to opening up this cold start, where do we go to school? What happened between school and this new practice that you opened up about a year ago? Let's kind of walk through that and then we can jump into the practice if you don't mind.
So it's a fun journey. I think I've done everything now in optometry. So I went to NECO. It was Nuenco when I started and NECO when I graduated. So midway through, I graduated in NECO in 2007. So we had a name change as we went through, but wonderful school. I have awesome classmates who are out there killing it. And it was just an amazing time to live in Boston. I love the school. I still am very, very heavily involved in working with students and helping them, you know, learn about private practice and sports vision. So I graduated in 2007. I moved back home to the Hudson Valley in New York for a year. Didn't really know where I wanted to practice, took a few roles in multiple practices. I always tell students that's the best thing that happened to me. You know, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, I thought I'd graduate and get my dream job in a private practice, be there full time. And that was my life. And I will tell you that's not at all what happened. And I worked in two practices in two totally different locations and different modes of practice. And it was really great for me to learn what I liked and didn't like. And I started filing that information away right away. I like doing this. I don't like doing this. Maybe I don't like doing this, but right now I have to. But down the line, I don't always have to do what I don't want to do. So to the students listening, you might have to take roles and fill in days and have multiple jobs, but that is, I think, the best way to grow as an optometrist. And you can learn from different settings and different types of practice and really start to think about your life and how you want to practice. And it might not be in the moment, that's what you're doing. And that's certainly some of the jobs I've had were not my favorite, but I always came away learning. So I spent a year in the Hudson Valley and then actually picked up and moved to Connecticut in 2008 to join my former practice as an associate. I was there from 2008 to 2022. I joined as an associate. We grew the practice from a small single doctor practice to a large 4-doctor practice. multiple changes, grew, expanded, new location. And then I sold that in June of 2022. And that was when I took a breath and said, what's next for me? I've done everything in that practice I want to do. I love all of the other things I've been doing in optometry. I do a lot of speaking and writing and consulting and traveling. And should I do this full time? And it was the first time I've actually been able to take a breath and think about what I wanted next and what that second half of my career, I don't know, third half, I don't know where we are, next phase of my career and life is going to be like. I have two boys who are now 9 and 11. So 2 years ago, they were 7 and 9, and that gave me the opportunity to have more flexibility. I was, room mom. I went on field trips, and I had some time to really think about what I wanted to do and what that would look like. And it actually surprisingly made me miss patient care.
Wow.
And I had no idea. Everyone said, what are you going to do next? I said, I have no idea. I'm going to focus on traveling and speaking and doing all the things that I've been doing, but doing in addition to seeing patients and running a practice. And I wanted to see what happened. What did I want to do? And I really did miss patient care. And I missed my patients. I missed being in a practice. I missed running a practice. I love the business side of optometry. I love the practice management side. And for me, it was this kind of refresh to say, I think I want to do this again, but I'm going to do it very differently. So I was very lucky to have that break. I won't say it's a break. I still was working very hard and working a lot, but it was very different. And it gave me the time to think about what I wanted to do next.
I love that. And I think that's a smooth transition into this private practice, right? Simply because we clearly see where the motivation came from. You missed it. It was a part of you. It's in your DNA, and you just felt like something wasn't there anymore. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about, how you kick this practice off, because there's a lot of ODs out there that are thinking about opening up a private practice and they don't even know where to start, right? So I'd love for you to maybe touch on the name of the practice, what the practice looks like, and then let's jump into the real deal, maybe some of the hurdles that you experience as well. Let's kind of talk about the birth of the name of the practice, because it's a strong name. So
thank you. So this is Look New Canaan. So what I first started to think about is, okay, I do miss patient care, but how do I want that to look? And if I got, no pun intended, but if I got the second chance to do this, what would I want that to be? And I think this went back to, my early years in practicing. We all have ways that we like to practice. And there were things early on I liked, and there were things I was like, I can't wait to never do this again. And I think that's such a great part of optometry, and something that a lot are not honest with themselves about. So whenever I talk to people who are like, how did you do this? Or what was your mindset? I thought, if I could create a practice and look at the schedule every day and go, oh my gosh, like those are the patients I want to see, and those are the types of exams I want to do. What would that look like to you? And how that looks to me might be very different than you and the other person listening, because optometry is such an amazing profession that we have so many opportunities and so many ways to take care of our patients differently. But that doesn't mean we have to do it all, and that we need to like all of it. I'm very honest about there's things I don't really care to do, but there's things I absolutely that fill my cup and I'm so passionate about and so excited. So when I sat down to do this, I said, what are those things? If I could create a practice for the rest of my career, I'm 43. And if I want to be here the rest of my career, what's that going to look like? And what is it not going to look like? And can I create a practice that supports that type of patient care? And then figure out how to refer those other patients or make sure everyone's taken care of, but it might not be me. And that's how I set out to create Look, is I had a patient avatar in mind, a patient type, a type of patient care, a way that, and that mindset of how that practice is going to look and feel, that is what my blueprint was of every decision I made. It doesn't mean it was easy. There's not things, it doesn't mean I didn't, kind of, oh gosh, am I in the right choice on this? Should I do that? But it made it easier for me to filter out the noise and fine tune my plan, because I knew what type of care I wanted to provide.
I love that. And I hope everyone that's listening caught that phrase that you just used. You filtered out the noise.
Yes.
That is heavy. That is strong. That is game changing, right? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of noise going on right now.
There
right?
is. I mean, it's something I continue to do because now that we've been open 10 months. So now, it's like, okay, what are you going to do next? What are you going to expand to? Are you going to start adding this? You should do this. You should do that. And there's so much you should, because we have so many opportunities to do so many things. So it is really sticking to my plan to say, yeah, I know I could do all these things, but I don't have to, I don't need to, and I don't actually want to. And it keeps me doing the things I want to do and not feeling pulled in so many directions.
I love it. So kind of walk me through what the day looks like for you. Are we doing, more sports vision? Is it primary care? Is it specialty contacts? Is it dry eye? What does a typical day in the life look like for Dr. Stewart?
So, and that's great, because there are so many, all of those things. So there's people out there thinking, oh my gosh, to have a successful practice, I have to do primary care, pediatrics, myopia management, dry eye, ocular disease, aesthetics, sports vision, low vision, specialty contacts. What else did I miss? Like, for anyone's specialty I missed, like that was just a quick 8:30, idea. But I looked at that and said, there's things in there I don't want to do, and I don't want to do that. So for me, I have a practice focused on good old primary care, and I love it. I unabashedly love seeing primary care, healthy young patients, and really a focus on optical. I love beautiful eyewear. I love beautifully crafted eyewear. I love independent brands. I love teaching people that all eyewear is not the same, and that there's a story behind the brands that we have chosen to partner with. So I have a beautiful optical, but that also drove my location. So I'm in a retail space in a beautiful downtown on a walkable street. We're in New Canaan, Connecticut, which is a very affluent community, vibrant downtown, really focused on independent businesses and small businesses. So if I was a business focused on ocular disease, my space would be the absolute miss for that. So it's not the right space, but for me, being in a retail location, I have big windows and we encourage walk-ins. That set the tone for the type of practice I wanted to create. So I see kids to, older, I usually start around 5. I have great colleagues who will handle my younger pediatric patients. That's something I don't like. So it is something I don't feel that I'm as good at. So I have an optometrist locally that I love to send her my younger kids. And I see, primary eye care, contact lenses, but I don't do specialty. And I love taking the time with patients. I currently see one patient an hour.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I don't spend the full hour with them. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing there? But but I see one patient an hour, or, yesterday I had a lot of kids because it was a holiday. So obviously I see more patients with kids more in an hour, but really focus on spending time with people and really unpacking their optical needs. And it's something I enjoy. I love crafting multiple pairs for them to make sure that I'm hitting all the things that bring them in. And I love it. I love glasses. I love beautiful eyewear. I love contact lenses. I also do myopia management. I have a huge focus on, I have 2 boys, so I want to make sure as a parent, I am giving the information to the families here that I would want as a parent. So we have a very busy MiSight practice. I do a lot of MiSight fittings, and that is pretty much what I do. I also do minor medical care, so emergency care, but I do not do a lot of ocular disease here. So again, I have wonderful optometry colleagues that love it and happily take my referrals and then refer me their comprehensive patients. So it's a great balance.
I love it. I love it. And what we're going to do next, colleagues, is take a tour of this amazing practice. Let's go.
Look, New Canaan, windy and cold today, but here we are. We're going to take a quick tour. Hello. Here's our front door. Walking into our beautiful optical. So here's our beautiful space, big windows, stone walls. Here are some of our amazing collections that we have. There's me in the mirror. Hello. Focus on independent eyewear, local brands. Handmade, we have our own handmade collections also, but a real focus on small independent lines and brands. So here's our quick tour. Here's our full service optical lab. So we cut and edge all of our own lenses in-house. Here's one of our consult rooms. Here's our contact lens room. Nice and beautiful. This was all our own build out, so we did all of this ourselves. Here's our pre-test room with all of our amazing technology. Business office, hard at work back there, another consult room. And here is a third consult room. So we have all Marco digital equipment, beautiful space, really focused on design here and really making it a welcoming, amazing space on this amazing street here in downtown New Canaan. It's a little windy out today, so we don't have our sign out, but here is our street and our lovely light that we have. And that's our tour. Thank you.
Fantastic practice. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love the high-end frames. The designers in there are just unmatched. And I just love everything that you're doing. Now, I want to kind of circle back. There were a couple things that you touched on that was very rich, and I want my colleagues to hear this. And one of those things were that, you don't have to be everything to everyone, right? One thing that you touched on is that you refer your pediatric patients that's 5 and under to your colleagues, and not an ophthalmologist, nothing against them. I love all my ophthalmologists, but to another optometrist. And I think that's something as a profession we have to do better. We have to be okay with referring to another doctor that's an optometrist if we're not great at something or if we don't want to do something. And I do the same thing. And I think it's game changing because we keep them held in optometry, but most importantly, it creates a stronger bond between other ODs as well. So I love that you touched on that. And the other piece that I love is that, you mentioned you have 2 boys, right? And being that you have 2 boys, you know the potential of myopia and you do myopia control. I always tell all my doctors, all my students, all the folks that follow me for branding and engaging and things like that is, to grow in this profession, to make money with things outside of optometry or within optometry, do what you already do, right? So if you have kids and you're concerned about their myopia advancing, then do myopia control in your practice. You're going to have to do it for your kids. So become an expert at that because it's something naturally that you're going to have to do. My dad always told me, just stay in your lane, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? What are you doing well? And how can you add additional revenue streams on top of that? And that's essentially what you have done within your practice. And I love it. So I just want to say thank you for echoing that and amplifying it out there to the masses.
I think it's so important that people feel that they don't have to be everything to everyone. And that's something that we get pressured with, that if I don't do this in my practice, patients are going to leave, or I'm not, I'm not practicing all the things I could be. And I think it's absolutely fine to do that. And I think it makes me a better doctor, that I can be more focused. I can stay up to date on everything myopia management, everything myopia control, because I'm dedicating my time to that. Focus. And I know I am up to date on all the research. I know all the studies. I have all the support. I am super engaged in marketing that and understanding what's coming up, because I can focus on that. And I do the same in eyewear. We are so big on storytelling and branding and understanding what we have in the optical, but we can focus on that because we're not focused on 30 different things. And I think for those who are looking to start a private practice or might be even in private practice and struggling with what that next phase looks like, I always say my existential, conversation is to sit down and think about what you actually like doing, and be honest and real. And what do you like reading about? What, if you could attend any CE lecture without worrying about needing the credit, what would that be? And what would you choose to listen and learn about? And if that's not the way you're practicing, it might be time to think about how to do that and not feel overwhelmed of keeping up with all the data on all of the different things we can do, but focusing and staying in your lane of the things you really like doing, because patients feel that and see that, and they feel that passion, and they also feel that lack of passion. And if you're just kind of going through the motions, and I'm very upfront with patients that I don't do this in my practice, but I have a colleague who is so good at it, and this is what they live and breathe. And if I was the patient, that's the person I want to see. I want to see the person that loves what they do. So for those who might be starting out or thinking about that, or deep in your career and struggling with motivation and burnout and thinking, how did I get here? How did I have a busy practice, but I'm not living the life I really wanted. It doesn't happen overnight, but you can start taking those steps to fine tune your practice to right that ship and get it in the direction you want to go.
I love this. You're dropping gems. You're dropping tips. Are there any other valuable tips that you could drop on some of our colleagues out there when it comes to a private practice? Because again, you've been doing this for quite a bit of time. Now you kind of fine tune it to the exact way that you want. So I feel like when you go into the office, it's plug and play and just do it naturally what you love. What other tips can you bestow upon our listeners out there that may be looking to jump into this world as well?
As soon as you think you know everything, something goes wrong. I will say, it's not always smooth sailing, and even a cold start. I mean, there's always something that comes up, and for those who out there who think, oh my gosh, this looks so easy and there's no struggles, I promise you that's not the way it is. But I thoroughly enjoy, I love this. And I love thinking about business. One of my OD friends is cold starting very soon. And she jokes with me. She's like, do you ever stop thinking about business? I'm like, no, is that weird? But, and I think another tip I have is surround yourself with good people who you can ask anything and be open and honest with. I think, going back to what you mentioned about, really this fear we have of other ODs, I think there's also this fear of being open and honest and transparent about our businesses. And we feel we have to kind of keep everything, close to the vest and not share, and feel either if we're sharing that people will get information about us, or, we're embarrassed, or whatever it might be. I have my accountability partners, and I have a few OD friends who I am super honest with. I am open. I have, Jeremy Ciano in Indiana is my optometry BFF.
Nice.
We talk about everything, and we share everything about our businesses. We are open and honest about we celebrate our successes together. But then when we're struggling, we also lean on each other and say, okay, what do I do about this? I'm having this trouble. I'm noticing my revenue is not where I want it to be, or my schedule is not as busy. Help me. And for those of you who feel kind of alone in optometry, which it can be a very isolating profession, other than when we're at CE meetings and we're just sitting there, find some people to talk to and to be open and honest, and don't be afraid to share the things that you are struggling with, because I promise you, everyone's struggling with the same things. And, having people that you can lean on and talk to, and it might not be in your community, you might not feel comfortable with the doctor across the street knowing that you're having trouble filling your books, or that your sales are going down. Maybe you're like, I don't want them to know that. But if you have colleagues from optometry school, or reach out on social media and find some people that you can lean on, because it can feel that the things that you're struggling with, or the problems you're facing, or the challenges you're having, it can feel like, gosh, everyone else on Facebook is talking about how busy they are, and I'm not that busy and I'm struggling. Find some people that you can be honest with, because social media doesn't always tell the whole story. For many reasons. So find one person, even if they're not local. It could be by text, it could be by Zoom, it could be by email, but find somebody that you can share and bounce ideas off of, and say, how do you do this, or how do you do that? I promise you, most of the things I do have not been my own ideas, but have been through collaboration and talking through things with friends, and fine tuning that and changing everything. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice, because a lot of people think I just go at it alone, and there's nobody that would understand what I'm dealing with, or, who wants to talk about this stuff. I mean, that's all I do.
I love this. I mean, and from what I'm hearing, just to break this down, all my colleagues out there, stay in your lane. do what you're great at and continue to push forward with that, right? Because when you're all over the place, you got to keep in mind, you got to train your team. And that's a lot of stuff that your team has to be responsible for. But when you can really hone in on what you're great at, you can now surround the team to make you even greater because they don't have all these different pieces coming from all over the place. So stay in your lane. The other piece that I love is that you mentioned you're not going to know everything. And that's just part of the game, right? So just own that, but make sure you do something about that. And when it comes to doing something about that, really finding that accountability partner, right? That peer mentorship. Who in your friend circle, your colleagues, whether locally or out of state, who can you connect with? Who can you partner with to always just be vulnerable with, right? I mean, at the end of the day, no one is perfect. You're going to have great days. You're going to have horrible days, right? But learn through someone else's experiences to help grow your practice and just make sure that you have that right team, that right village to be able to take it to the next level. I love everything that you touched on, and those are all game-changing, tips that you have. Now, one other thing I wanted to touch on is, there's always the glamorous side, as you had mentioned, but there's also the hard side. I would love for you to maybe share one of your biggest hurdles when it comes to opening a practice, because I want our colleagues to be able to see both sides of this, right? They see that flashy side on social media and all the great things you're doing. And by the way, social media is a hot ass mess. People out here lying in these eye care streets. It ain't always glamorous like they say it is, right? Just to be upfront with you, because I've seen behind the scenes of a lot of things, just FYI. But I'd love for you to maybe share, one of your biggest hurdles that you've experienced as a practice owner.
So I think, we had a really great start, and being somebody, I call myself a cold start. My bank called me like a really warm, really, really warm start. So because I practiced in this area for 15 years, I'm about 7 miles from my former practice. I've been here forever. I live in the community. So I wasn't truly a cold start. So the first 2 months were amazing. And, there was this pent-up demand when people knew I was coming back. So we hit the ground running. I opened in February of 2024. And we were just cranking and so busy. And oh my gosh, that this is not hard. What are people talking about? Like, it's crazy. We're booked out. And as soon as we open the appointment book, and then once that all kind of filtered through, we got a little slower. And it just happened to coincide with springtime. We get out of school here in Connecticut in mid-June. So end of May, everyone's, myself included, school stuff is busy. You've got a million different things you need to do, and you're starting to prep for summer. And the industry overall in May and June was very slow. So it was kind of the perfect storm of my pent-up demand kind of petering out, life getting busy here, and then overall across the country, all of my friends were struggling with the same thing. But my schedule went from like super busy to, oh, what just happened? Cold start, and I have bills to pay. The bank loan, I have staff, I have all these things. And it just was a kind of moment where, oh my gosh, what just happened? I've been through it before in my sports vision practice. When I opened my sports vision practice, I thought I could just open the doors and people would flow in because I thought I had a great idea and that's all I needed to do. No, that's not it didn't happen with Performance 2020. And it didn't happen with Look. So I had to kind of go, okay, I've never had to market before. I had joined an established patient practice as an associate. So we had a patient base. So this was all new to me, but I had to kind of sit down and go, okay, what are you going to do to get patients through that door? Yeah. And we all kind of have this moment, and there's ways you can panic and go, all right, I got to take every insurance plan in the book. Like, I just have to get on, it's not part of my business plan. It's not part of my gut plan. It's not part of how I want to run this practice, but I need to get patients in the door. That's one way to do it. And there's other ways to say, okay, how can I be creative and get myself out there and network? And that's what I did. And I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I went to every Chamber of Commerce meeting. I've never done this in my career, ever. In 17 years. I just started walking around every day. I'd pick 2 local businesses to go in and buy something and introduce myself and bring my business cards. and I'd go get a coffee, and I'd go, maybe buy a book at the bookstore. I'd walk into a clothing store, and just, I had the time, instead of sitting here scrolling on Instagram, looking at everybody else's businesses and, what's going wrong. I got myself up and out, and I went out and I started meeting people, and that cost $0, maybe a couple dollars for a coffee. But, I started really working on my social media. I do it all myself. And I just started to think about, how do I connect with that patient that I want to have come in? Where are they looking? What kind of information do they need? So I started, Instagram is amazing. It's good and bad. It could be a time suck, but it took time. But then we saw this shift. And I also reached out to my friends and said, are you guys really slow right now in established practices? So again, not feeling alone, not feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. This was a terrible idea. But hearing my friends, Sam Hornberger in Indiana, also one of my best optometry friends, Joel Toot in New Hampshire, reaching out and going, what are you guys dealing with? And hearing that maybe some of these other practices in different geographical areas were also slow, and reaching out to my reps.
Yeah.
That's my other business pearl. Your reps are not salespeople. They are your business partners. That's and if there is one, how many pieces of advice have I given? But your reps are so knowledgeable, not just about the products, but they have a pulse on the industry.
Yep.
So reaching out to them for many, many different reasons, but reaching out to them to say, how's it going? They have the information for their territory, their state, and knowing kind of what's going on. They know what's going on. They see the sales, and they hear from other doctors. So I'd say, I'm a little slow right now. And they're like, it's okay. Everyone's feeling it. So, they're feeling it. It's not good for them either, but it can help you not feel like you're doing something wrong. And that will help you, kind of feel, okay, now what do I do about it? You can't just go, well, everybody's slow, so I'm just going to sit back and wait. But what can I do to be better? And I think the other piece is that it just takes time. I am an instant gratification person. I am somebody that expects things to happen because they do. And when I want something to happen, I can usually make that work, or make that whatever I want, usually I can make that happen. This is one instance of just being patient, and just, it takes time for the word to get out. It takes time for your name, even if you've been around for a long time in a new community, it takes time for you to build up credibility as a new doctor. But once you start to see that ball start rolling, it's pretty incredible, especially the second time around, to start over and build something from scratch and see the way that people respond, and the interest that people have in a new practice, in a new way of thinking, in a new way of practicing. Don't discount that people want an experience, and that they want to be heard, and they want time, and they want a personalized experience. So being able to create that and do that, and now 10 months later, that ball is rolling. And I said to my husband last night, I said, do you think I'll ever stop celebrating every time somebody books an appointment online? I said, I hope I never do. We're watching The Diplomat last night, and 4 people book online appointments. And I see I get a notification every one. I said, I hope I never stop getting excited from that. And I'm sitting watching TV, and people are thinking about it. And somehow I popped in their head, and they booked online at 8:30 at night. So that's what I feel is a wonderful way to feel about optometry. I'm excited for these new people. I'm excited that they found me. I thank every person that comes in. I thank them for taking the time to visit. I thank them for choosing us, and I thank them for choosing a new practice and a new person. And then I ask for them to, if they, I'm not shameless. I say, I love new patients, and if you could spread the word, I would appreciate that as a small business. So they go, are you taking new patients? Absolutely. Feel free to spread the word. And, but I think all of those things, it's not easy. It's not, every day is not great. We celebrate the great days here. We had our second busiest day last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We celebrated that. And really, I thank my team every day, and we work really hard, but we're really proud of what we built.
Yeah. This is all music to my ears. I really appreciate you, walking us through your journey, right? You've had a hell of a journey. You made a
Oh my
hell of
gosh.
an impact. The one thing that I really love that you just touched on is celebrating your wins. I think as optometrists, sometimes if it's not a big win, we don't want to celebrate it. But if you celebrate all your small wins, those micro wins turn into macro wins, and the feeling that you get is incredible. But most importantly, when you can celebrate those wins with your team, that's next level stuff, right? That's how you build loyalty in your practice with your team members, and they stay there forever. So I'm so happy that you celebrate those wins with your team. But something I do in my practice as well is I thank my team members. I thank my patients that walk through my door, because without them, I can't be who I am. It's a team effort, right? We have to work together in order to make an impact and change the game and have effective change. Um, I'm just blown away by all of this great information here. I want to know what you want to be known for. We have this segment on Defocus Media known as When It's Your Time to Retire Your Phoropter. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Because you've done so much in this game of eye care that I'm just curious to know, what do you want to be known for?
I hope that I've inspired one person to think differently. And that's all I want to do, is inspire one person from listening to think about what they want in life and go after it. And if I always say, if I've done that, if I've touched one listener to think about, maybe I do want a cold start, or maybe I never thought I could do that, or maybe I've been practicing for 25 years, but I don't like what I'm doing right now. I hope at the end of my career that I have inspired one person to really go after what they want, and to really spend their days doing what they like to do, whatever that may be. And that's different for all of us. But I love speaking, and I love writing, and I love being out there at meetings. And I hope that what I've done so far in my career, and then, forever in the rest of my career, is that I really want to empower people to live the practice of their dreams, to really want to go to work. And being realistic, it's not every day. Some days I want to hit snooze and not come either. So I'm also a real person, but really to inspire people to think differently, think outside the box, do the things they want to do, filter out the noise. That is the biggest one. Do things as they want it to be, not the way that optometry or the industry has always told them they have to do it, and be able to walk into their practice or their job and be excited to be there and thankful they have the opportunity to do what they do.
I love it. Filtering out the noise, empowering others. You have done that. You've empowered more than one person. I'm pretty sure it's thousands of people.
Hopefully. If I have, let me know. I love hearing from
there's no doubt about it.
people.
I mean, when you think about the patients you've seen, when you think about the stuff you've done in industry, when you think about just those two young boys in your household, right? You have truly empowered the masses. And I just want to say thank you for all the great work that you have done professionally, but also personally. And for our colleagues out there that may want to partner with you in some kind of way, whether it's industry, whether it's consulting, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
So I have a consulting company called OD Perspective. So you can find me there. I do a lot of industry consulting, speaking, writing, networking, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Instagram. I have Jennifer Stewart OD and Look New Canaan. So find me one of those, all of those. And if you have questions, reach out. If I've hopefully touched on something that inspired you and made you think differently, please let me know, because that's what keeps me going too. I love hearing from you. So, and Daryl, thank you for having me on here. It has been like a year. We've been trying to work this out.
Well, if I would have known you were a morning person, I would have said, let's do it at 5 a.m. Let's go.
I know when I saw like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, whoo, no one wants to hear that late. I am not that. No one wants a podcast recorded with me that late. I'd be sitting there going, what did I just say? I don't know. I'm burned out and tired by this time. I just want to go to bed.
Wow.
So, but thank you for having me on here. Thanks for being relentless at trying to schedule and helping me and being flexible. And thank you for what you do, what you bring to our industry and our colleagues. Your upbeat personality and the way that you shine in optometry is also an unbelievable gift.
Well, teamwork makes the dream work. Again, can't do anything by myself. with colleagues like you and others out there, we're going to change the game. We're going to change the face of eye care. And I appreciate everything that you're doing. You guys, make sure you get out there and connect with Dr. Stewart. As you can tell, she's a rock star in eye care. She is changing the game. She's elevating how we do things in our profession. And again, I just want to say thank you. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover. Stay healthy, stay positive, and stay blessed. And until next time, peace.
Hey family, if you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.